Hi, welcome to this session, this quick start session of the Profiler Training Certification course. One of the things that we're doing in profiling when we are asking someone questions, when we're doing a live profile with them, is we are trying to get at their mental processes that they use for learning information and making decisions. And oftentimes, as we're asking them questions, as we're working through this profiling session, they're not going to have language or understanding sometimes of the stuff we're asking them to give us, because it's things they haven't really thought about before. This is subconscious for them. It's not on the surface. It's something they may not understand about themselves fully. And as us as profilers, we're going to have a complete structure and grammar for this to be able to unpack their mental processes. So we're going to have to help them through that process as we go. And sometimes that can be a challenge.
Yeah, one of the major challenges in profiling is, as Joel said, you're asking things that the person may not have thought about for a while or ever. And so you're looking for parts of their mind and their mental processes that they don't currently have language for. And so if you were to directly ask them, okay, how is your brain wired? Is it wired in this way? Or, do you find yourself doing, sort of making these connections or these flashes of insight? And the person will go, well, I don't know. I just think, right? Like I just do whatever I'm doing. And so because you are looking for parts of them that they don't currently have language for, you have to do what we call go through the side door, which is you have to ask leading questions that will tell you, based on the system, how their mind is operating and working. Now, what's awesome about this is that when you do this successfully, you establish mad credibility. Okay, like the person's like, holy crap, how do you know me so intimately? How do you understand me on this level? You asked me if I prefer to, be around a group of people or to be alone, and now suddenly you know all the stuff about me that I didn't say, and possibly even maybe how I was raised. Because sometimes profiling will give you insights into how the person grew up. It's actually that profound. And so if you can do this well, you establish all this incredible, you get this rapport like crazy. The person thinks that you're a genius. They think you've read their mind. You're a palm reader. The thing is, though, that it requires some finesse during the process. And it requires you to know your craft. So once you know it well, the credibility and rapport you establish is crazy. However, up until that point, there's going to be a little bit of clumsiness, and that's okay, right? That's totally fine. It's just one of the things that you have to understand that is a built-in or woven-in challenge in profiling. So it's an opportunity and a challenge at the same time.
Yeah, one of the things that we're going to be looking at are two types of profiling. There is active profiling and passive profiling, and we're going to look at both. Whereas active profiling is sitting down, it's actual direct interaction, one-on-one or one on a few, but usually it's a one-on-one situation where you're asking specific questions to another person and getting answers back. You're actually trying to peer into their mind through the answers you're giving you. Not only the things they're telling you, but the things they're not telling you. The places where they have confusion around what you're asking, the places where they're resistant or holding back. All of these things are going to give you a little bit of insight into how their mind works in an active profiling session. Whereas passive profiling, you may not have the ability to sit down with someone and ask them questions, or it might not be the right context. Maybe you're in a job interview and you're with a potential boss who's interviewing you. As you're watching how he or she are asking questions, you could be passively profiling them, figuring out, okay, wonder what their personality type is here. Or watching a movie, maybe a celebrity in a movie or a character on TV, or just a person you're meeting for the first time. You don't have an opportunity to sit down and spend that time to ask them those direct questions, but you're able to pick up cues based on how they're behaving and the words they're using to passively profile them. So these are the two styles of profiling we're going to be teaching, and both are useful in various contexts.
Obviously, active profiling is going to have a much higher accuracy rate.
Yeah.
If you know what you're doing and you understand the system, to be able to confirm your suspicions, right? Confirm your speculations by asking questions. And then if the person says, oh, no, I didn't mean that at all. And then going, oh, what did you mean? And then allowing them to really, express themselves in a way where you continue to go, okay, well, that's probably that piece, right? Oh, well, that seems incongruent. Okay, well, actually, that's why that's congruent. And just being able to do that in real time is so much more accurate. Passive profiling is going to be a lot less accurate because you can't actually confirm your speculations, right? Like you can't actually go, hey, so I was watching you in the mall, like over there, and you were walking in this certain way, and I was wondering if, does your mind work in this certain way? And the person's like, whoa, hold on there. I don't know who you are, but here's $5 and go get a cup of coffee.
Security comes in.
Yeah, right? So passive profiling is going to be a lot less accurate. Yeah. However, it's a lot easier to do, right? You can't always get people lined up for an active profiling session, whereas there is a number of people around at any given time. So even though passive profiling is less accurate ultimately, that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to really start on the passive profiling piece because it's a lot simpler and it's a lot easier. And then actually getting your sort of making sure you got the chops to do passive profiling is a foot into getting to that point of being able to be a really brilliant active profiler.
Yeah.
Now, here's the challenge in profiling. We've talked about this in other programs as well, but this is something that's really important to remember. We're going to pull up what we call the competency model, and we actually lifted this from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. If you haven't read that book, you need to do that right now. You should probably stop this program and go read it and then come back. It is an incredibly powerful book. That said, what he has this model in here that he calls the competency model, which is absolutely brilliant. And it's also very encouraging. Effectively, the point of the competency model is that everybody, no matter what the skill is, starts at a place that is called unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence is that place where not only do you not know how to do something, you don't actually know what it takes to be able to do it. So, for example, if you're watching basketball, and Michael Jordan is, let's pretend it's the 1990s and you're watching basketball. And Michael Jordan is like literally flying through the air from the 3-point line. And he doesn't sink his shot. He actually misses the one time. And you're like the dude sitting or the woman sitting on the lazy boy, like eating potato chips going, oh, he totally should have made that shot. And somewhere in the back of your head, you're like, I would have made that, right? That's an example of unconscious incompetence. Not only do you not know how to do it, but you also don't know what it takes to make it happen. All right, that's how unaware you are of this skill. When you graduate from unconscious incompetence, and this is usually when you're picking the skill up, you get to a point where it's like, oh, I can do it. Okay, I can do it, but I understand what goes into this. So I'm starting to play basketball. I'm starting to figure this out. Okay, so wow, it takes a lot of skill, and here are all these people trying to steal the ball from me. And give me a second. I'm just trying to sink my shot. And wow, this is really difficult, and I'm gonna have to probably practice a lot. And I'm still not very good, but I really understand what's going on here. Now you have graduated to conscious incompetence. Now, conscious incompetence is that time period where you still can't do it, but you know what it takes to be able to do it.
You know you can't do it.
Right.
At this point, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not good at that thing. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that shot.
Exactly. Now, as you build the skill, all right, the very next level, though, after conscious incompetence is conscious competence. What conscious competence is it's, I think I can do this now. I think I can actually play a basketball game. I think I can actually make this happen. I can be on the team. However, I have to put a lot of effort into it. I have to really be thinking about what I'm doing. I can't just let my muscle memory kick in. I've got to really be on track. Okay, who's trying to get the ball from me? Who's on the other team? How far away am I at? And I've got to juggle all these pieces of information in my head. But I can do it, right? Like I know I can do it. It's just going to be difficult. I'm going to have to push through it.
As we're working through this model, and if you're learning a new skill, this is the area where you'll probably be spending the most.
Excuse me.
This is the area you'll probably be spending the most amount of time. It probably takes the longest of any of these areas at this level. And I bring in the metaphor of, if you've ever seen the movie The Karate Kid, when Mr. Miyagi is making the Karate Kid wax on and wax off, he's doing that to teach him the basic mechanics of something. And oftentimes at this level, we're working on the mechanic level of something. We're looking to learn just how to do something mechanically. We may not be proficient yet, but we're just learning that muscle memory. We're starting to build that skill set of, okay, I'm waxing on, waxing off, so that someday when we get to that karate fight, we'll actually have the skill to block and be able to kick and punch and all the different things we have to do, the different moves we have to make in order to win that fight. But in order to do that at this level, and I'll encourage you this at this level in the profiler training, is work on the mechanics. Work on just getting the basics down, run them over and over. In school, you know this with flashcards. And here in the United States, when we're learning our multiplication tables, We're just learning flashcards. We're working through the mechanics of something to just rote memorize that and get that into our system so that we can become proficient at it. So this is a level where a lot of attention is spent, a lot of time is spent. And when you're here, focus in on those mechanics. Again, focus on mechanics. I'll just reiterate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you're skill building between conscious incompetence and conscious competence, that's all that wax on, wax off. However, once you have done that enough, all right, now Mr. Miyagi has you waxing on, waxing off, and now you're at a point where you're just like blocking all of the, you know, the karate moves that the other person is giving you, and it's in your muscle memory. That's when you've graduated to unconscious competence. Unconscious competence is when you don't even have to think about it anymore. It's just, you just bring it. All right, you just bring it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to struggle over it. It's just there. And that's the level that the Tiger Woods and the Michael Jordans and all the other sports figures and whoever is the big sports figure now. The only sports figure I know now who was really amazing in the last couple of years is Troy Polamalu. Who was incredible at what he did. So basically, like you're at that level where you don't have to think about it anymore. It's just inside you.
And you've seen this with automobile driving. So if you drive a vehicle, when you first started out driving, you get to watch the road. Now you can probably, if you've been driving for many years, you can jump in a car, get to your destination and be like, I don't even remember driving here. I just remember I got in my car at home and now I'm at work or wherever I was going. And I don't remember how many red lights, stoplights I went through or which road I turned on. I just got there because it's so unconscious to be able to drive at this point.
I may or may not have been like juggling coffee and Egg McMuffin, and I may or may not have like steered with my knees at one point, right? So yeah, you get to that point where you're not even thinking about it. Now, what's really encouraging for me personally with this model is that when I get to the level when I realize just how hard it actually is, that's an encouraging moment because I'm just one step away from competence. It might be conscious competence, but I'm just one step away. The worst place to be is unconscious incompetence because then you're really far away from being able to do it at all. In fact, you don't even understand the skill that needs to go into it. So when you're having challenges in profiling, remember you're at a point right now where you're building skill, and even if it feels like you're consciously incompetent, that's a good thing. That means you're waxing on, waxing off. That means you're currently building the skill to be able to graduate to conscious competence. And then it's just a matter of practice till you get to unconscious competence. So don't get discouraged. It's a lot of information, a lot of content, and you're going to feel like you're not really sure how to do this and whether or not you're going to be able to. And the answer is that you absolutely will. So these are some of the challenges in profiling that you want to keep in mind. They're all something that can be overcome, and a lot of them are actually opportunities in disguise.